I'll be going through the answers quickly, so make sure your course book is open and in front of you, and please stop and rewind the video as you need to. So, got your book open in front of you? Are your answers in capitals? Want to know why the answers are the answers? Then let's go. Whenever we do these open-close questions, when you read the sentence, the first thing that you should always ask yourself are the basic questions. And those are, 1, is there a verb in the sentence? Because if there isn't a verb, we're going to need a verb or a verb form. And secondly, are there any articles that we need? This is the easiest place from which to start. And here, if we have a look at this sentence, it says, yet he was not something particularly good student. We've got the verb, but one thing that we don't have is the article. And that's exactly what we need in this case, the article being a. For question number 2, the key word here is the word after the gap, subjects, and the key being it is a plural noun. If it was a singular noun, the answer would be every. He got reasonable grades in nearly every subject. Fine, but it's a plural noun, subjects, which means that the answer is all. He got reasonable grades in nearly all subjects. For question number 3, what we have to do is fill in the expression. The expression in this case referring to Albert Einstein, but not only, it could also apply to my children as well. And what do they not like doing? They don't like doing what he was told or as he was told. So if you're not sure of that, or if you didn't know that expression beforehand, make sure you know it from now. Question number 4 is a great sentence analysis question. If we have a look before the gap, it says, he didn't like exams. We've got a negative structure, followed by the conjunction and. Logically, in terms of grammar, what follows next would make sense if it was also a negative. But that negative is not there, which is why we've got to include it in this gap. So what options do we have? We've got 2 options. We can either say neither, or we can say nor. For questions 5 and 6, let's have a look at them together. Why? Because they're part of the same sentence structure. And this sentence structure is made up of a subordinate clause followed by a main clause. For question number 6, easy peasy. All we need here is the correct article. The article being the. So admitted to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. Now, let's turn our attention to question number 5. At the beginning of a subordinate clause, you're going to need a subordinate conjunction. The correct subordinate conjunction for the context. And the context here is one of contrast. He failed at something, but nevertheless, he still managed to get into this institute. So what options do we have? Well, we can either go with a subordinate conjunction. We can either say despite, which fits the language pattern here, or we can use a preposition. We can say after failing the entrance exam. For question number 7, the sentence says, instead he worked in a secondary school, blank, he taught mathematics and physics. What this sentence is basically saying is he worked in a secondary school and in that place he taught mathematics and physics. But we can only choose one word, and that one word is of course the correct relative pronoun. The relative pronoun being where. Now, I'm sure you remember what I was saying back in question number 1. When you approach these open-close questions, you should always ask yourself 2 basic questions. 1, is there a verb form? 2, do I need any articles? Well, for question number 1 and for question number 6, we needed articles. For this question, we need a verb form. Why? Well, if we have a look at it, it says, in 1905, his special theory of relativity, something published. After the gap, we've got a past participle. Now, past participles only work with 2 forms of grammar. They either work with perfect forms or they work with passive forms. Which one do we need here? Well, the perfect form doesn't make any sense if we were to include it, so that must mean that we need a passive. In other words, a form of the verb be, which fits the context. And the answer that we need in this case is was.